Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. We're going live. I'm sorry, but I got to do this show. This has been going on too long. And I'm talking about the two churches that was burnt down in D.C. I mean, it was two black not burned down, but the vandalism that took place. Two black historical churches burning Black Lives Matter signs in the church. I mean, wow. It's not surprisingly though, but what I'm upset is at the response that some of the leaders in the black community are giving. Is too weak. Man, your response is too weak in 2020. Now, I remember years back, right, and I'm not 100% on the quote, but churches was offered for members of the Nation of Islam, FOI, to train the men on how to protect their property and their people or parishioners, right? And with that kind of arrogant, dignified, sanctified, some kind of old slave-minded Negro church code or something, man, they be on. They turn down the help, right? I don't know if they actually know who they're dealing with. That's why the church will always be a target, because whenever they're attacked, the response to the attack is so weak till you leave the door open to be attacked again, right? I don't understand it. It's 2020. Now, if you're trapped. If in the back of your subconscious, right, and even if on your church walls you have a picture of a white Jesus, if you got white Santa Claus all up in your church, you setting yourself up for failure, because you're believing in something that's not true, because Jesus wasn't white, right? Santa Claus was make believe, right? But if you hold that to your heart, then what you're saying is, well, how can I properly defend myself against the breath, kith, and kin of Jesus, because he's white and the people that's attacking me is white? Maybe I'm doing something wrong, or maybe I deserve it. You're setting your people up for failure, right? I mean, look, this is News One. Like cross burnings, Trump's Proud Boys deface historic black churches, light Black Lives Matter signs on fire, right? The racist, violent social media videos showing a far-right group vandalizing black churches during a protest in Washington, D.C. against the presidential election results invoked imagery of the Ku Klux Klan burning crosses, one of the church pastors said. It's one of the church pastors, right? They're in front of his church. And the response is, it reminds him of the Ku Klux Klan. Now, but what he's saying, if you read between the lines, what he's saying is, 2020 today is no different than when he was younger, seeing the Ku Klux Klan burning crosses in front of churches, right? So he's saying that, he's admitting that the response in the ideology hasn't worked up in it's 2020, because they're still doing the same thing. And so it's letting you know that they're not wrong. They're being who they are. They're doing what they do, what they're doing. It's just that your response for over since the 1800s, because Frederick Douglass had his ceremony there when he passed. One of the churches that was vandalized, right? It's saying that your response is flawed, right? It's what it's telling you is all black people in America need to get under the banner of some type of Nation of Islam teaching or something, because that white man's Christianity is not working. Malcolm told you, Garvey told you, Army Elijah Muhammad told you, Minister Farrakhan told you and warned you, but still you think that what you have and what you're doing, in your mind you feel like you're on the right path. And I'm sorry to tell you that when you dealing with the type of enemy or the type of devil in flesh, those response that you're giving, no, it's not going to suffice in 2020, right? The Proud Boys was in the nation's capital to support the president during the day, but when night fell, they turned violent. Clad in military apparel along with bulletproof vests. See, this is who you're dealing with. You got to wake up to the realization and the fact of who you're dealing with. You can't close your eyes and create some illusion that something's going to come riding down out of the clouds in the sky and step off the cloud and wave some type of magical wand, and all of a sudden racism going to disappear. And then you relay that type of illusion to your congregation. And now they minds is full of illusions. But then when something goes down, everybody you look into the same injustice system for aid when they, come on, man. I mean, it's so ridiculous to the point they said, well, they got the faces now on camera who committed the acts, right? White men. And they're saying that no, they haven't caught anybody yet. You know, they don't have any suspects in custody at this time. What's the problem? We got the face. I mean, if black people, you see their face when you find them in hours. You know, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Proud Boys and members scoured the streets of the District of Columbia before coming upon the Asbury United Methodist Church and the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church, both historically black churches in Northwest Washington, right? I'm not going to read Sawyer Hackett, right? Anyway, I'm just want to start. We going to, okay, now, Christine Clark, quote what they call a black person, what they call a person of color, right? Check this out. Proud Boys and other white supremacists burn a Black Lives Matter sign from the Asbury United Methodist Church in D.C. while dousing it with lighter fluid to intensify the flames. This public act is intended to terrorize and send a message to black people. Come on, really? Really? Seriously? They've been sending that same message for years. And our response been the same response for years. If you're gonna have a platform, right, to where you can use your voice and your words to speak to an array of people, right? You utilize that time with an effective response to alert black people of what time it is and the current situation so they can be on guard to protect themselves, right? And protect the future. If not, and if you keep giving the same weak responses that your foreparents gave, then your future generation will face the same things. You get what I'm saying? Now, they lock up Grandmaster Jay Lee, the NFAC, for allegedly pointing a rifle at federal agents, right? They banned, shut me down, suspended Verbal Pick Radio on YouTube. It was supposed to have been for a week, but I'm still suspended due to me making comments about the vaccine, saying that it's hard for black people to trust white people, specifically in this current moment, right? But also due to the Tuskegee experiment, syphilis experiment, and we've been hesitant on the trust. It's a trust issue because the response to racism and violence against black people is not the response that black people are looking for. The response be a weak response, man. It'd be weak, dude, coming to when it comes to the aid of black people and what black people have suffered within America. The response for white people is not really the response black people are looking for. It'd be more like a pacifier. Like Malcolm say, they give you something to pacify you for a time. They play with grown people, till it smooths over and everything dies down, and that black anger and that black dissatisfaction, right? When that black dissatisfaction dies down and it gets quiet again, then they commit another act. Black folk get upset, hit the streets. We tired of this. The preachers come out and say, this remind me of the 1800s. Yeah, we know that, man. We shouldn't have racism in today. Yeah, we know that. What you gonna do about it? Why don't see this? What gets me, and this what gets me too. When pastors say, we got the love to love everybody, and we don't have no room for no racism in God's church, right? So if you got any kind of hate in your heart, and if you can't respect being nonviolent, then you're not a child of God, and you don't belong here. And why don't somebody black say, well, look here, Real, why don't you take that message over to the white church, because they the one that's brutalizing us. Go, you and that white pastor, y'all both reading out the same book. Why don't you go deliver that message to them? Wait a minute now. Don't get out your lane. Man. Look, man. Look. The response. It's the response to hate against black people. And I'm not saying, when I'm saying response, I'm not saying a violent response to the hate towards black people at all. The response I'm saying is stop pacifying the situation and call it what it is, right? And then take the necessary steps to make sure it doesn't happen again. Because your response, you leave the back door open for it to happen again. Because you're dealing with people who don't give a damn about your response, because in their eyes, they like, that's all you got? That's weak. You trying to appeal to the nature of people who don't see you as the way you see yourself. And as the way that's the problem. You think that white racists see black people the way that black people see black people, or the way that you think they ought to see black people. You see what I'm saying? It don't work like that. It don't work like that at all. They see black people from a whole different mindset, out of a whole different nature. And if you had been studying the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, if you had been listening to Malcolm back in the 60s instead of fighting and arguing with him, trying to prove that how close you can get to your white master, you'd have known this by now. You'd have studied the history of Yaqub, because that's facts. That history, I'll tell you about that history. When Yaqub was visualized, right, to come on the scene in the year 8,400, right? He was visualized to come, right? They put that document and that history and bottled it up, and they put it in Mecca, and black folks can go read that history. It's facts. It's there. Some of these pastors know that, right? But I don't understand we just don't understand the game, right? We don't understand the angle, you know. We don't, I don't know, I take that back. Some of us understand the game, some of us understand the angle, and we know why they do what they do, right? See, white people, hold on.